Hello everyone. Last night, I watched Voicemails for Isabelle. And I had some thoughts for no one in particular besides myself. But I have seen the trend online that people comparing modern romantic comedies to what they used to be in the early 2000s. I saw a video that rom-coms used to be about a third of the movies that came out of Hollywood. And now there's maybe, two a year at most, something like that. I made up that last statistic, but the first statistic is true. And they just don't seem very romantic anymore. And not very funny either. So I didn't mind this, but I was thinking about how good movies, good books have the ability to be reread, to be reviewed, to be rewatched. And this was another one out of a long stream of kind of Netflix attempts at rom-coms. Or not just Netflix, but just those types of movies where they just kind of slightly miss the mark, or they miss the mark a lot once you think about it a little bit more. It maybe is okay while you're watching it, but afterwards you're just like, what did I actually consume? So I wrote notes because once I started thinking about it, I was like, that was a bad movie. Anyway, okay. So what it did have is a serious element. And the serious element is that her sister's dead. Now, I don't know if that's the best launching pad for a rom-com. I'm trying to think of... And then maybe you could say that's not what their aim was. It's it was more about the sister and the love between sisters. But then it was kind of well, then why pick this story about a guy receiving voicemails that's meant for her dead sister? And about how they get to know each other, except they don't. Anyway, okay, that's the serious element. And then they tried to also have the rom-com staple of funky, cool characters who were very unique, they're lovable. And I think that came more through on Jill's side rather than Wes's side. He was a confusing character, but I'll get to that. And they obviously invested a lot in the soundtrack. It was very boppy. They had a few Taylor Swift hits on there. But I almost feel having really popular music detracts from storyline. I don't know if that makes sense. It's we put in a popular song, therefore you must like this. It doesn't have a distinguishing flavor or atmosphere for that movie in particular. It just feels we know that we're creating a sugary little donut thing, and it's not supposed to be a unique dessert. You know what I mean? It's just supposed to give you the hit of that thing, if that makes sense. Okay. Also, the kiss at the end, they did the traditional, he's chasing after her, but he just runs to a taco place. And the kiss at the end, the dramatic, the building, what's that called? The building climax of the music was just over the top. And actually drew me out of the film because I was this doesn't feel... There's no payoff here. It's not really romantic. They've kissed before. And also, I feel I don't know what it is with new movies. They always feel the confession scene where it's or the profession of love scene, I love you so much, blah, blah, blah. They seem to go, they're taking it places where it's too much. It doesn't sound like something a real person would say. And yes, you could say this genre is not really based in reality, but the way that they talk is just so obtuse in a lot of ways and kind of convoluted. I found that in The Materialist as well, when Chris Evans is giving his big final speech. It's kind of all over the place, and like it's always the guy who's like just kind of, it's not groveling is the wrong word, but it's like it doesn't really fit the like overall theme or atmosphere tone or the rest of the film, and then it's just like we think that this is part of the formula of a romantic comedy, so therefore you're gonna get it, and it just doesn't feel right. Actually, Materialist is another good example. This was actually in my notes, but they had that like really serious element of like that other woman that I can't remember her name, Dakota Johnson sets up being raped, and it's like this heaviness that like feels at odds with the rest of the movie. And I felt this way about this. Like, I get that it's like more built into the concept, and like as the viewer, you know, like this is the thing coming in. Um, but still, it didn't like quite sit right. Like, yeah, it just felt plot devicey, and like I felt like we were getting lectured a lot about like Jill's love for her sister, which is like I don't think that was, you know, an unreal aspect, like sisters loving each other, but it's just like, yeah, I don't know, I don't know. Anyway, I didn't really enjoy that. Oh, the Clementine or the um, I can't read my handwriting. Kumquat, Kumquat Clementine. I don't. The amount of footage of her in the kitchen. That's the other element, because it's like the sister element, but then there's also this heavy element of like she works in kind of a like verbally abusive like kitchen. She's a prep chef, and like all the scenes there felt so wasted. It was like, yeah, we I felt as the audience you feel the pain of her being of her working there, which I don't know if that's the point, but as the viewer, you're kind of like, why am I being tortured with like painful work scenes in a movie about like family and love and like supposed to be funny? Like everything that came out of that kitchen, like even when I think it was supposed to be funny, it just wasn't. Um, so anyway, I found that really hard to get on board with. Um, Also, the okay, big issue with the podcast guy. So they have a character where he has a podcast about dating, and I don't know who this is supposed to be based off, but it was kind of funny. But like she has a couple of dates with this guy, and it goes well, and he's very charming, and seems authentic. But it doesn't seem to really pave the way for Wes coming onto the scene, because it kind of seems like because she does this thing where she keeps swearing off men, but immediately after she like has this moment in front of like his live podcast thing, and he like she calls him out for being like a douchebag, then Wes comes on the scene, and she like it seems like she's learnt nothing, and she like kind of just keeps falling for like empty charm for like from people that she doesn't know. And we get it, like as the audience, it's like, oh, we know this guy, so it's fine. But then he also like they also hammer home that like he's emotionally unavailable. He kind of is just into real estate. He's supposed to be like a cool guy, but then I guess the element is like, oh, he collects game cards, so that makes him like geeky or something. Um, like that's his two like character traits. It's like he kind of is cool, he kind of is very successful at real estate, and he can't remember girls' names, or he remembers Instagram names of girls that he's dated, not their actual name, and then he has these game cards. Um so to me they kind of like threw that in there to like try and give him depth, but like it's about Jill. Um And I don't know, there was something about Jill that was kind of inherently unlikable. Um, like, it just, yeah, I felt like she was always lecturing people. Um, and then also making like mistakes So, and I think it can be done where it's like the person always makes mistakes, but they're lovable anyway, and they're kind of cutesy. And I think they were trying to do that, but unfortunately, she just kind of seemed like she was complaining a lot and not just like my cat, complaining a lot, but like not really being self-reflective. Yeah, I just felt like with him, they were kind of throwing in things that didn't give him consistency as a person. Um, that like it didn't feel like a real, like, I don't know this guy. I don't know the guy who is listening to Taylor Swift on New Year's Eve, but then like really enjoys real estate and like crushing people in the real estate games by getting someone to do illegal activity online. I can't remember. He has like some tech guy that like hacks stuff and like people's texts and stuff like that. So I don't know this person. And what's the other thing? He collects cards. He has a dead mom because of course. And then like he is kind of a playboy because he has this girlfriend at the beginning and she's like, you need to work through your trauma, and she's about to get up and leave and he's like, no, like he isn't on board with what this girl's saying, and then he goes, oh no, you're right, I need to work through my trauma. And also, and then like the spontaneous guy that randomly flies out to San Francisco, it's like just too many things that they kind of smush together. And I was like, I really don't know who this person is, and I've never seen a person like this either. My cat is going berserk. She didn't watch the movie, so I don't know what she's about. The last section is about You've Got Mail, which you might be like, what's that got to do with the movie? But they kind of reference it a lot, and sometimes the characters are like, oh, you're the Tom Hanks, or like you're the, what's that girl's name? Meg Ryan. And it made me think of all the ways in which this new style of rom-com like really falls short to something classic like You've Got Mail. Look, I don't even like You've Got Mail, but it is like rewatchable. It has a tone, it has an atmosphere, it like makes you feel something like good and warm. It's not just kind of like hitting you with random things and then like making you believe in like a really unrealistic like love story. Does that make sense? So the slow burn of You've Got Mail is important to me. So the two are emailing the whole time. They talk all the time. And even when they think that they're the rivals, they're still interacting. They're still like talking to each other. These two characters, like, yes, I think he's there for like 2 weeks for work. But like you get a montage of them in the city, but you don't see them talk. You get one conversation about how they have dead people in their lives. And I'm like, is that enough? Like, but you don't see them talking about the city or like what they like, and if it is stuff that they like, it's always about Jill. So that wasn't good. Yeah, I was saying connection doesn't just come through like vulnerability, through just sharing like hard things from your life. Like I think you actually have to have things in common, and kind of like unique perspectives for each other to like kind of bounce off. You know, that's what You've Got Mail's about. It's like these two like people who seemingly lead very different lives, but like when they're being honest and open anonymously, they have like so many points of connection. And yeah, they like realize things about themselves. They make each other better. It's not just like, okay, I'm going to support you through this time in your life. I think that's like what Wes is supposed to do. Okay. The other thing is like the atmosphere of the movie. So You've Got Mail, it's set in New York. There's like a world outside of the two characters. you see seasons pass, you see like cool shots of New York. You have an ensemble of characters. There's friends, employees, like random New Yorkers. Then there's the kids as well with Fox. I forgot what the guy's name is, but his last name's Fox. Fox. And I think they tried to do this in this movie where they like got montage shots of San Francisco. You have her sitting and looking out on the Golden Gate Bridge. But it kind of felt like flat and more like a commercial rather than like being immersed in the city. Yeah, and I feel like the kind of essence of the city, or like unique characters, like people who are interesting aren't like, they don't really show up on screen. Like you have that weird other prep kitchen dude who is just like a jerk, and like Jill sleeps with him for some reason towards the beginning of the film, and then she like randomly starts a taco dessert business with this other girl who's in the kitchen, and it's like, these people aren't interesting. They're not, we don't like know them. They're like, just, I don't know, they're such stock characters that have no intrigue whatsoever for the audience. And yeah, I think they spent way too much time trying to establish things and dynamics in the kitchen where she works, and it's just like, it just had no payoff. Yeah. The other aspect was the realization. It's like these two characters in You've Got Mail understand something about themselves and each other at the end. And they like playing off like the classic, they talk about Pride and Prejudice, so you can see that they both have prejudice against each other, but in the end they kind of fix that aspect. Whereas in this, they just kind of like, she finds out that he's had these voicemails and he hasn't told her, and then they kind of blow up, but that he fixes it by recovering the voicemails because she loses them. But it's like, how exactly, what did you guys realize that made you think, oh no, we have to be together? Nothing is the answer. So anyway, concluding thoughts is that I can't rewatch this movie because there's no atmosphere. There's nothing there that I want to relive, rewatch, re-enter into. There's no world that makes me feel like I want to be there. The characters aren't particularly lovable or unique or interesting, so I don't want to spend more time with them either. And the ensemble aren't interesting. They don't have interesting side characters or friends. This was quite a negative video, but I'm just so as a lover of rom-coms, I'm just very disappointed with what they're churning out at the moment. But let me know if you thought otherwise. But I thought this was kind of a big miss. Big swing, big miss. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know.